When the weather starts to turn chilly and the leaves change colors, many people in southern Indiana and western Kentucky carry out the long-time tradition of gathering the ingredients to cook burgoo. Often, a burgoo cook is the center of family traditions and church gatherings. The process brings friends and neighbors together over the course of several days to make a rich, slowly cooked stew with various meats and vegetables, oftentimes cooked in large cast iron kettles.
Gathering around the kettle and stirring the burgoo all night is a big part of the event. And I know some of the churches that do it as a big fundraiser. I know some of them started out by having everybody bring their kettles, and they'd have a whole row of kettles. And then over time, I think some of them have kind of made these big industrial kettles that aren't cast iron, but they're big tanks that they can cook, hundreds of gallons of burgoo in at once. But most of the, family gathering burgoos are still done in, 20 to probably 50 gallon cast iron kettles that are, 100, 150 years old.
In a 75, they did about 475 gallons. Then they had 7 of the cast iron kettles lined up on a garage wall. In 79, I designed and built an 800-gallon kettle.
According to multiple sources, burgoo dates back to the 18th century, where the preparation began as a community event where everyone would contribute their harvest and leftovers to make a stew. Burgoo is similar to Irish or mulligan stew and historically was served with cornbread or corn muffins. Today, burgoo is often prepared communally as a social gathering, as it takes many hours to cook completely. A number of churches, especially Catholic parishes, cook burgoo not only for fellowship, but also as an annual fundraiser. In southern Indiana, their traditional or historical burgoo continues to be adapted. Even within the region, recipes as well as the pronunciation vary. Some people pronounce it as burgoo or burgo, eliminating the second O.
Depending on who you talk to, you're going to hear some people say burgo, and then a lot of people say burgoo. We've always called it burgoo. We've always pronounced it that way, but I think in Kentucky especially, people will say burgoo.
Burgo. That's what they always said was burgo.
We say burgoo, spelled with 2 O's, but what I've always been told is the second O is silent. Down at our farm, when we have our burgoo, there's a big sign up. It says Fulton tradition for 70 years, and it's spelled with 2 O's, but the last O, we got a red line through it.
Recipes vary, but most versions use beef, pork, and chicken. Some people also include venison, squirrels, and other wild meats.
And we use 3 meats. We use chicken, pork, and beef. There's usually a little bit of venison in it. There's been duck and goose and squirrel and all the other things over the years that's been in it off and on.
Many burgoo recipes from Owensboro, Kentucky call for mutton, while Danny Hape tells us he uses the deer meat from the latest season's harvest to make his burgoo. The other main component of burgoo is a plethora of vegetables, which highly varies from recipe to recipe. However you say it, and regardless of what meats are used, the cooking of burgoo is a long, slow process. After the ingredients are ground and combined, everyone agrees that it needs to be cooked for a long time over low heat and constantly stir to produce the best product. The byproduct of this process is the time it allows for conversation and camaraderie. Family traditions and community or church gatherings usually center around the annual burgoo cook.
Since yesterday.
This has been an F.J. Reitz Feel the History production.